Peace and love and rising.
Grand
Hello.
Rising, Mother. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm getting my coffee. I was like, oh my goodness, I popped out of bed. I was like, oh my God, I think I'm late.
No, you're right on time.
Thank you. Grand Rising, everyone.
Grand Rising. Thanks for joining us. Grand Rising, Mother Martin. Grand Rising, Mother Flora. Grand Rising, Mother Hester. And Grandmother Rising, Mother Misha. And we got Brother Bronsky L. Bay in the building as well.
Grand Rising, everyone. Good to be here. Last week I forgot last week. That's why you didn't see me. Because I was busy also. So yeah, I'm glad to be here this early rising day.
Wonderful. Glad to have you here, Mother.
Thank you.
Okay, so see. I believe we left off on chapter 11, correct? We actually read Jack and the Beanstalk, so we're gonna pick up on chapter. Did we read What is Real?
Mother, I think we stopped because I have my pencil from last week. I have it stuck on chapter 11. So I think we read chapter up to chapter 10. Or did we read something?
Yeah, we read on Tuesday as well. Were you here?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because we just, instead of doing the training thing, we just added in another day of reading.
Okay, all right. Okay, so what chapter? Okay. I have some chapters I have to go back and read them. Okay.
Yeah, and I posted it. It's on YouTube because I think we went live. Yeah, we went live. It's on YouTube and it's in the chat, in the Telegram chat as well.
Okay.
And we are live on YouTube, you guys, broadcasting. So this is the Freedom Riderz Book Club reading. Welcome to all those that are listening currently. If you are currently listening or watching us, I am Empress Shea Marie Bay. And we've been reading and learning about law. Currently, we're reading from the book called New Beginnings Study Course, Connect the Dots and See by David E. Robinson. And this book is basically going back through the history of our country, basically giving the history and the breakdown of how our government was created and how we got where we are today. It just really goes into telling us about how a lot of things that we were taught to us incorrectly or backwards. A lot of things were made to look in a negative light to get us to turn a blind eye to, so that we would not know the truth. And so this book has been really, really an eye-opener for us all. So if you haven't had the chance to hear the previous chapters, you definitely want to go back and listen to those. Our last book we read was correcting your political status as well. And I also have some book readings that I've done on my own that you can go back and reference, such as Straw Man, Meet Your Straw Man. That's another book that will help you get a little bit more inner understanding about what we are learning here. Kind of provide us with the truth, and not just providing us with the truth, but also we're doing this to give us remedy on our issues that we face financially, with our country, with our world being in poverty. We're learning with this book, through this book, and a lot of other things that we've been doing, that the impoverished states that our country is in, that our world is in, are man-made. They are not, scarcity is not real. And we have the ability to set ourselves free. And reading is fundamental. It's going to be through education. It's not just going to come. No one's going to come and save us. So we basically got to take this opportunity right now and learn this information, learn the laws of the land. And we went over hierarchy laws. I think we read chapter 14. We went over some of the hierarchy laws. And so I think we're going to pick up on the 10 maxims of laws. Make sure. I think I want to go over chapter 14 again, even if we did read it. I'm not quite sure. I know we read the chapter before. Basically talks about what is real. So yeah, we definitely read that. So we're going to pick up on chapter 14, the hierarchy of law. It says natural law. The first order of law on this planet is natural law. Universal principle, which so necessarily agrees with nature and the state of man, that without observing their inherited maxims, the peace and happiness of society cannot be preserved. Knowledge of natural law may be attained merely by the light of reason from the facts of their essential agreeableness with the constitution of human nature. Natural law exists regardless of whether it is enacted positively or not. Commercial law. The second order of law on this planet is commercial law, the law of commerce. This most fundamental law of all human law has to do with the universal principle of survival. It has to do with human interaction of any kind and relationship, buying, selling, or trading, or relating to others in any way. Commercial law based upon treating or dealing with others in the way that you would like to be dealt with or treated, called the golden rule. Commercial law has been in operation since mankind interacted with each other, beginning thousands of years ago in the Sumerian Babylonian era, where it was codified and enforced. Ancient artifacts dating more than 6,000 years old reveal that the system was so complex at this time, it even included receipts, coined money, shopping lists, manifestos, and a postal system with the medium in baked clay. Common law. The third order of law on this planet is common law, a derivative of commercial law, and therefore the lesser of the two. Common law, common equals common, co equals together, plus minus equals service, gift, exchange, to exchange together. Common law emerged in England out of disputes over portions of the earth held in allodium, sovereign ownership of land, and was based on common sense. Common law is law of the land. Common law gave rise to the jury system and the many writs and processes which governments absorbed, statutized into rules and regulations, and the regulatory procedures of the courts. The procedures of the common law were based on the necessity to face your accuser, the alleged injured party, in front of witnesses, to sort out and resolve the problem directly face to face. Common law was never intended to include the construance of law by lawyers, attorneys, or judges construing their own law. since their titles of nobility are based upon the fiction of hearsay evidence, which can never be the real thing. Regulatory law. The fourth order of law on the planet is regulatory law. The legal legislated regulations of the organic republic states. The only law that the states could create was the law which would allow commerce to flow more efficiently within the state. The only law that the central government, the United States of America, could create was that law which would allow commerce to flow more efficiently between the states. Legislated regulations were never intended to regulate the people, the sovereigns. Political law. The fifth order of law is the copyrighted private policy of foreign corporations, such as the United States, the state of, the county of, the city of, etc., or in other words, politics. The purpose of these municipalities, munos, service, gift, exchange, plus capere, to take, equals to take service, and to exchange, is to govern fictitious corporate entities such as Kmart, Walmart, and John Doe, and Jane Doe, or Jack Smith, not to regulate real people. So basically, it was only to govern the fictitious corporate entities, not real people, guys. Remember back when you thought that you were John Doe because that's how it is written on your driver's license? One of our many problems when we engage with government and other such fictional elements in our dealings in the law is that we have been conditioned by public education to interact on their level, not ours. Never have we arisen to the level of the reality, the power, the solidity, and the preeminence of the sovereign that we are. But now we can function at our level of power. This is checkmate. The end of the game. This is remedy. Commercial law. The principles, maxims, and precepts of commercial law are the same yesterday, today, and forever. They are unchanging, unchangeable, and eternal. They are expressed in both the Old and New Testaments of the Bible. Commercial law, exchanged for thousands of years, is the underlying basis of law on this planet and for governments around the world. Commercial law is the law of nations and of everything upon which human civilization is built. This is why it is so powerful. When you operate at this level by these precepts, nothing that is of inferior statute can overturn or change it, or abrogate it, or meddle with it. It remains the fundamental source of authority and power, the functional reality. The affidavit. Commerce in everyday life is the vehicle or glue that holds or binds the corporate body politic together. Commerce consists of a mode of interacting, doing business with, or resolving disputes, by which all matters are executed under oath, certified on each party's unlimited commercial liability by sworn affidavit, or that which is intended to possess the same effect as true, correct, and complete, and not misleading. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Such an affidavit is the application for a driver's license, for a bank account, or to vote, or a notary certification of copy form certifying a document, and a signature on nearly every document that the system requires citizens to be obligated to or bound. Such means of your signature is an oath or commercial affidavit, executed under penalty of perjury, to be true, correct, and complete. In a court setting, oral testimony is stated in judicial terms as orally sworn to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. In addition to asserting all matters under the solemn oath of unlimited personal, commercial, financial, and legal liability for the validity of each and every statement, the participant must provide material evidence, i.e., ledgering or bookkeeping records proving the truth, validity, relevance, and verifiability of each and every particular assertion to sustain credibility. So actually, this like a lot of this is like where our remedy begins, you guys. Our affidavit. I would like to highlight this. I'm gonna pause right here and just underline some of this. And I suggest if you have the book, I suggest you highlight and do that too. Because this is a lot of where your beginning is gonna start. As far as, like it said, learning about commercial law. So this is like breaking down some of the major things that we're gonna need to learning about our signature, the means of our signatures. And it's talking about, you know, our signature being our sworn truth. Definitely want to highlight where it's saying, in addition to asserting all matters under solemn oath of unlimited personal, commercial, financial, and legal liability for the validity of each and every statement, the participant must provide material evidence. So this is like, this is basically keeping track of our daily lives. I mentioned the other day, basically living our lives like a business. So a lot of what we've been doing, I know me, myself, just learning about business and learning about taxes. And I came into this space like 2016, 2017, learning about like when Trump was saying like he doesn't pay taxes and how he's smart. I was learning about, you know, because he has a business, his name is his brand. And he lives his life like a business. So everything that he does, he sets his life up in a business manner to the way where everything he does can be written off as a tax write-off, pretty much. But and so he has to keeps records. So the number one thing about this is keeping records, ledgering a book, keeping records. Because that's what's going to basically verify its validity, whatever. So you definitely want to underline that. So I'll keep reading. Commerce exists and functions without respect to legal systems in court. So I'm going to move on to chapter 15, 10 maxims of law. If anyone else want to read, let me know. See, we got
Mother Shay, I can read.
okay, no problem.
I also wanted to say something about the taxes. But what they're saying here is correct. I remember one year I just decided to do a little something on Amazon just to sell like some things. And you know, yes, if you keep track of everything, every little thing, and then you go to do your taxes, I think that was probably the most taxes I've gotten back that year, even though I didn't, you know, to me, I didn't think I spent a lot until I itemized everything. And then when I submitted it for taxes, yeah, I got everything back and then some. So yeah, technically I didn't pay any taxes that year.
Can I say something about the taxes too?
Absolutely. I just want to say one thing. We have to understand that, you know, our name is a business, you know, period. So we are already a business, but go ahead, Mother. Sure.
Yes, I just wanted to add that when you get the form 1099 OID, is it 1099 OID? You can also claim your, your receipts for utilities and all those government, even your what do you call it? Your property taxes. You can always get it back if you file that form, 1099 OID form.
Right.
Yeah, you can get, because all your receipts of the things that you bought and the taxes that they charge you can collect them back if you file that form, and then with your receipts.
OID form. That makes sense. I've been hearing the young gentleman talk about the OID form. So it's all really about learning what these forms are for, and because that's a lot of it, that plays a lot into our ignorance because of the forms. We don't know which forms that we should be filing and things of that nature. So that plays a lot into, why we don't know this information, or why we, are going through some of the things that we go through. So thank you for that information, Mother. I believe you are right about that, because the gentleman that I follow, he talks about the 1099 OID all the time. So you're right. Okay, Mother Mia, you can go ahead and read if you'd like to start chapter 15.
It says the 10 maxims of law. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
There are essentially 10 maxims of law in commercial law. 1, the workman is worth of his hire. That's from Exodus 20:15, Leviticus 19:13, Matthew 10:10, Luke 10:7, and 2 Timothy 2:6. Legal maxim. It is against equity for the free man not to have the free disposal of his own property. 2, all are equal under the law. Equality before the law, God's law, moral and natural law. Exodus 21:23-25, Leviticus 24:17-21, Deuteronomy 1:17, 19-21, 19 and 21, Matthew 22:36-40, and Luke 10:17, and Colossians 3:25. Legal maxim. No one is above the law. It says, this maxim is found on both natural and moral law and is binding on everyone. For someone to say or act as though he is above the law is insane. This is a major insanity in the world today. Man continues to live, act, believe in, and form systems, organizations, governments, laws, and processes which presume to supersede or abrogate natural or moral law. But under commercial law, natural law and moral law are binding on everyone, and no one can escape commercial law. Commerce by the law of nations ought to be common, but not converted into a monopoly for the private gain of the few. In commerce, truth is sovereign. Exodus 20:16. That one I think is Psalm 117 to John 8:32, and 2 Corinthians 13:8. Legal maxim. To lie is to go against the mind. This maxim is one of the most comforting maxims we could have. Our foundation for peace of mind and security, and our capacity to win and triumph to get our remedy in business called life. Truth is sovereign, and the sovereign tells only the truth. My word is my bond. If truth were not sovereign in commerce, in all human actions and interrelations, there would be no basis for anything, no basis for law and order, no basis equal no accountability, no standard, no capacity to resolve anything. It would mean that anything goes, each man for himself, nothing matters, and that is worse than the law of the jungle. 4, Truth is expressed in the form of an affidavit. Leviticus 5, 4 and 5, Leviticus 6, 3 to 5, Leviticus 19, 11 to 13, Numbers 30 and 2, Matthew 5, 33, James 5 and 12. Legal maxim. An affidavit is a two-edged sword that cuts both ways. An affidavit is your solemn express of truth. In commerce, an affidavit must underlay and be the foundation of any commercial transaction whatsoever. There can be no valid commercial transaction without someone putting his neck on the line and stating this is true, correct, complete, and not meant to mislead. Someone has to take responsibility for saying that this is the real situation. It can be called a true bill, as they say in the grand jury. When you issue an affidavit in commerce, you get the power of an affidavit. You also incur the liability of the affidavit because the affidavit presents a situation where other people might be adversely affected by what you say. Things change by your affidavit, which affects people's lives. If what you say in your affidavit is not a fact or true, then those who are adversely affected can come back at you with justifiable recourse because you lied. You have told a lie as if it were the truth. People depend on your affidavit and they suffer loss when you lie. 5. An unrebutted affidavit stands its truth in commerce. 12 Peter 1 and 25, Hebrews 6:13 to 15. Excuse me. Legal maxim. He who does not deny, admits. Claims made in your affidavit is not rebutted point for point. Emerges as truth in commerce. An unrebutted affidavit becomes judgment in commerce. Hebrews 6:16 to 17. There is nothing left to resolve. Any proceedings in a court, tribunal, or arbitration forum consists of a contest, a epistolous duel of commerce affidavits wherein the points that remain unrebutted in the end stands as truth, as material facts from which lawful judgment is derived. 7. For any matter to be resolved, it must be expressed. Hebrews 4:16. Excuse me. I forgot what Phil is. 4:16. 4:6. I'm sorry. Ephesians 6:19 to 21. Legal maxim. He who fails to assert his rights has none. No one is expected to be a mind reader. You must make your position out there. You must state what the issue is, to have some issue to talk about and resolve. 8. He who leaves the field of battle first loses by default. Legal maxim. He who does not repel a wrong when and he can occasion it. Okay, that sounded weird. He who does not repel a wrong when he can occasions it. Okay. The primary users of commercial law and those who best understand and codified it in Western civilization are the Jews. This is the Mosaic law that they have relied upon for more than 3,500 years and is based upon the Babylonian commerce. The book of Job, Matthew 10:22. An affidavit that remains unrebutted, point for point, stands as truth in commerce because it has not been rebutted and the contender has left the battlefield. Governments allegedly exist to resolve disputes and confirm the truth, but be substitutes for the dueling field and the battlefield of such disputes. Conflicts of affidavits of truth are resolved peaceably and reasonably instead of by violence. People can take their unresolved disputes into the court and have them open up and resolve instead of going out, marching 10 paces, turning around to injure or kill. 9. Sacrifice is the measure of credibility. Nothing ventured is nothing gained. The legal maxim, he who bears the burden ought to derive the benefit. No willingness to sacrifice equals no liability, responsibility, authority, or measure of conviction. A person must put himself on the line and assume the position, take a stand regarding the matter at hand. One cannot realize a potential gain without exposing himself to a potential loss. One who is not willing to swear an oath or on his unlimited commercial liability and claim authority for the truth of his statement and legitimacy of his action has no basis to assert his claims or charges and forfeits all credibility and rights. That's Act 7, life and death of Stephen. 10. A claim or a lien can be satisfied only by rebuttal affidavit point, but it should be by point, resolution by jury, or payment of the claim. Genesis 2:3, Matthew 4, and Revelation. The legal maxim: prove your case, or the accused is absolved. In commerce, a lien or a claim can only be satisfied in one of the following three ways. This is 10, Part 1, by someone rebutting your affidavit with an affidavit of his own, point by point, until the matter is resolved as to those whose claims are correct. 10.2, convince a common law jury concerning a dispute involving a claim of more than $20 based on the 7th Amendment to the Constitution, or use a tribunal of 3 disinterested parties to confirm judgment. Point 3, pay the claim. And I yield.
Thank you, Mother. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and read chapter 16, non-judicial law. Commercial law is judicial. It is timeless. It is the basic foundation beneath which any government or any government court system can possibly function or exist. What the courts are doing and what all governments are ultimately adjudicating and making rules about are the basic rules of commercial law. When you go into court and place your hand on the Bible and say, I swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, you have just verbally sworn a commercial affidavit. The conflict between commercial affidavits give the courts something to talk about and address. The controversy forms the entire basis of the court's action in their venue. This is one of the reasons why attorneys always create controversy. No court and no judge can overturn or disregard or abrogate somebody's affidavit of truth. The only one who has any capacity or right or responsibility or knowledge to rebut or your affidavit of truth is the one who is adversely affected by it. It's his job, his right, his responsibility, his duty to speak for himself, to issue his own affidavit, because no one can speak it for him. No one else can know what your truth is or has the free will responsibility to state it. This is your job, your responsibility. Commercial law. The term describes the whole body of substantive jurisprudence, the Uniform Commercial Code, and the Truth in Lending Act, which are applicable to the rights and intercourse of all persons engaged in commerce, trade, or mercantile pursuits. Commercial law is intended to maintain the commercial harmony, integrity, and continuity of society. Its purpose is to maintain the peace and dignity of the state. Over the millennia, these principles have been discovered through experience and distilled and codified into the fundamental 10 maxims of commercial law listed above. There is no legal issue or dispute possible which is not a function of one or more of these 10 basic principles. The entirety of world commerce functions in full accord with the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, commercial law regarding the corporate United States, how to calculate your damages and collect. Now, here is another aspect of your affidavits. In commerce, there is the assessment aspect, which is who owes whom, and what, why, how, and for what reason. And there is the collection aspect. Welcome, Mother Adams. We're reading the New Beginning Study Course, Connect the Dots and See by David E. Robinson, and we're on chapter 16, Non-Judiciable Law, and I'm on page 134 if you want to follow along.
Thank you.
No problem. Glad to have you here. Okay. The collection aspect is based on international commerce that has existed for more than 6,000 years. Again, this is based on Jewish law and the Jewish grace period, which is in units of 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months. This is why you get 90-day letters from the IRS. Commercial processes are non-judicial. They are summary processes, short, concise, without a jury. The IRS creates most of the activity of commercial collection in the entire world. The collection process is valid even though the IRS is not registered to do business in any state. Do you understand what you just read? The IRS is not registered to do business or perform commercial activity in any state. So how do they get all the money they get? Answer: because you give it to them without requesting proof of claim from them or even questioning if they were licensed, authorized to give you offers based on arbitrary estimations. This is where things get very interesting. The other phase of these matters is the assessment phase. The IRS has no valid assessment. The IRS never has and never can and never will issue a valid assessment, levy, or lien. It's not possible. In order for the IRS to issue a valid assessment, there would have to be paperwork, a true bill in commerce. There would have to be sworn affidavits by someone that such an assessment is true, correct, and complete, and not meant to deceive, which in commerce is essentially the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth when you get into court. Nobody in the IRS is going to take commercial liability for exposing themselves to a lie and have a chance for people to come back at them with a true bill in commerce, a true accounting. This means that they would have to set forth the contract, the foundational instrument with your signature on it, to which you are in default, and list all the wonderful goods and services that they have done for you, for which you owe them tribute, or a statement of all the damages that they have caused them, that you have caused them, for which you owe them payment. To my knowledge, no one has ever received goods or services from the IRS for which they owe money. I personally don't know of anyone who has damaged anybody in the IRS. That gives the IRS the right to come after us and say that you owe us money because you damaged me. The assessment phase in the IRS is non-existent. The assessment phase is a complete fraud. You basically assess yourself. This is why these rules of commercial law come to our rescue. We shall not cease from exploration, and the result of all our exploring will be to arrive at the place at which we began and know a thing for the first time. T.S. Eliot. This is the beginning and this is the end. This closes the circle on the process. One reason why the super rich bankers and the super rich people in the world have been able to literally steal the world and subjugate and plunder it and bankrupt it and make it shadow property out of most of us is because they know and use the rules of commercial law, and we don't. We don't use the rules of commercial law because we don't know the rules. We don't know what the game is. Therefore, we don't know what to do. We don't know how to invoke our recourses, remedies, and rights. We get lost in doing everything under the sun except the one and only thing that is the solution. No one is going to explain to you what and how all this is happening to you. It is never going to happen. The powers that be will never divulge the rules of the game. They can get away with complete fraud and steal everything because no one knows what to do about it. Well, what can you do about it? You can issue a commercial affidavit. You don't have to call it an affidavit, but this is what it is. You could assert it in your affidavit such claims as these. I have never been presented with any sworn affidavits that would provide the validity to your assessment. It is my best and considered judgment that no such paperwork or affidavit exists. At the end of this document, you could put demands on them and a time limit for their response, and that their response must be explicit. Then you state, should you consider my position in error, now they must respond with an affidavit which rebuts your affidavit point for point. This means that they have to provide the paperwork with a real assessment, a true bill in commerce, a sworn affidavit that would make their assessment or claims against you valid. Such an assessment they do not have. No agent, attorney of a fictitious entity can sign an affidavit for the corporation. How can they swear as fact that the corporation has done or not done anything? They do not have the standing to do so. They cannot and never will provide you with this. This means your affidavit stands as truth in commerce. You can even make it more interesting if you like. You go to all your laws, such as the U.S. Code, Title 18, Crimes and Criminal Procedure, and tabulate the whole list of crimes that they have committed against you in lying to you, foreclosing and selling your home, and issuing liens and levies. This could be quite the impressive list. I'm going to stop right here and I'm going to highlight this myself. Go to your laws, Title 18, U.S. Code, Title 18, Crimes and Criminal Procedures. I'm going to look through my books and see if I have anything on that. Okay, if you tabulate the dollar amounts of the fines involved in these offenses, you could take the Title 18, Section 241 alone. Title 18, Section 241, which is a fine of $10,000 on any public official for each offense. That means for every single violation of the Constitution or commercial law, there could be 35 or 40 of these in Title 18. you're looking at $300,000 to $400,000. When they start adding up, they become very impressive. Now you attach this criminal accounting to your affidavit. I think this is a financial statement that goes along with your UCC one. Now you attach this criminal accounting to your affidavit and you file it as a criminal complaint with the state attorney, the attorney general of the state. Attach it to your affidavit, file it with the state attorney. This is like putting the fox in charge of guarding the hen house. Attach your affidavit and your criminal complaint to a commercial lien. But wait, there is even a more effective way of getting your equity back: involuntary bankruptcy. The reason you go through this criminal complaint is because by their own laws and value system and penalties, they have hung themselves. They have already discerned and formulated the dollar amount involved in each of the various offenses. When you lien them for these amounts, they can't come back and say, well, these dollar amounts are out of nowhere. They're unreasonable. Where did you get this? Right out of your own codes. Commercial processes are non-judicial, prejudicial, and more powerful than the judicial processes. Now, you take your commercial lien to the Secretary of State and file it as a UCC 1 financing statement. Okay. Take your commercial lien to the Secretary of State and file it as a UCC 1 financing statement. Then as soon as you have finished filing the original criminal complaint with the prosecuting attorney, you file this lien against every public agent individually. Okay. I actually have a list, the list of 12, I think it's like 12 addresses you have to send this to. The fictional entity created by man so he can engage in perfidious action. Wait, they can't hide behind the skirts of the corporate state. The fictional entity created by man so he can engage in perfidious actions which he would not otherwise be able to do according to natural or moral law. It just doesn't work. Now you can use this same collection process against them that the IRS uses against you. You will discover that all the attorneys, judges, and the people who come against you think this is a lot of gobbledygook, hogwash, and silly, but they soon learn that your affidavit of truth is valid and enforceable against them. And they find that things become more and more uncomfortable with each passing day. Judges think all this doesn't matter because they can get another judge to remove all your paperwork against them. Other agents of the government think they can hide behind the sovereign immunity of the government, behind all that power and prestige and all their capacity to get the courts to do whatever they wish is going to save them. None of these have any effect on your processes. It has no effect because there is only one way that they can be saved, and that is to come in with their own affidavit that rebuts your affidavit by point by point, and proves you wrong. If they did get this into a court of jury, it won't do them any good because the same battle still exists there. This would mean that the conflict between affidavits is now fought out in the open, and that is embarrassing to them because they are not able to change anything. This will simply do them more harm. The third way for them to resolve and settle your claim is to pay it. And if they don't satisfy your claim, you give them a period of grace, and at the end of 90 days, you transform the Secretary of State into your accounts receivable office for collection. The legal title of their real and personal property will have now passed to you. Now you file the correct paperwork with the Secretary of State and serve this on the sheriff and say, I want to take possession of my property. Things then begin to get interesting. If you send a criminal complaint on a public official to the insurance commissioner of the state, it becomes automatically a lien against the bond of the official and the judge or district attorney, and he's dead in the water. He cannot function without bonding. This is held in suspension until the issue is resolved. Now, simply by going back to what we've wanted all along, which is truth, rightness, and remedy, and finding the rules that pertain to it, all of a sudden we find that we have more power than they do, since we are sovereign. No one, not a judge, jury, or anyone else can overturn or change this process. To do so would be to dissolve the world immediately into chaos. This would be the end of all order, all standards for all civilization. It is not possible. They are stuck. This is the way to put power on your side and against those agents of government who violate your being and injure you in violation of their oath of office. This is how, through your own process, we can use the rules of the game in our favor instead of remaining in ignorance and being taken forever as slaves. This applies to everything, not just to the government. This forms a valid foundation for your life, and it forms a basis for any kind of your dealings with government. What most people don't realize is that governments don't have and can't have anything to support an affidavit of truth that supports their actions when their actions are wrong. Governments invent all the regulations and statutes they impose on you, affecting your life and commercial economic standing. And no one is taking any liability, responsibility, nor accountability. They may have some kind of bounding, but in most states, this bounding is only for about $5 million to $10 million for the entire state, and all its employees, but you can tabulate a simple traffic ticket into more than $5 million if you choose to do so. Uniform Commercial Code. The National Conference of Commissioners and Uniform State Laws, together with the American Law Institute, drafted nationwide uniform laws, and each state has now adopted these laws. These laws govern commercial transactions, including sales and leasing of goods, transfer of funds, commercial paper, bank deposits, and collections, letters of credit, bulk transfers, warehouse receipts, bills of lading, investment securities, and secure transactions. The UCC has been adopted in whole or substantially by all states. Black's Law Dictionary 6. The UCC is a code of laws governing various commercial transactions, sales of goods, banking transactions, secure transactions, and personal property, and other matters that was designed to bring uniformity in these areas to the laws of the various states, and that has been adopted with some modifications in all states, including the District of Columbia and and the Virgin Islands. Barron's 3rd edition. Unless displaced by the particular provision of this code, the principles of law and equity, including the law merchant and the law relative to capacity to contract, principal and agent, estoppel, fraud, misrepresentation, duress, coercion, mistake, bankruptcy, or other validating or invalidating cause shall supplement its provision, UCC 103. To paraphrase, the third definition above, the UCC is the supreme law of the land on the planet, and all other forms of law are encompassed by it and included in it except you and me as sovereigns, of course. Pennsylvania was the first state to adopt the UCC on July 1954, and Louisiana was the last on January 1975. The following is a quote from the Bank Officer's Handbook of Commercial Banking Law within the United States, 6th edition, paragraph 2201. 1, and pertains to certain types of transactions. There are 12 types of transactions to which the UCC does not apply. They are as follows. 1, security interests governed by the federal statutes. Landlord liens, which is 2. 3 is liens for services or material provided. 4 is assignment for claims or wages. 5 is transfers by government agencies. 6 is isolated sales of accounts or shadow paper. 7 is insurance policies. 8 are judgments. 9 is rights of set-off. 10 is real estate interest. 11 is tort claims. And 12 are bank accounts. UCC 104, construction against implicit repeal. This code being a general act intended as a unified coverage of its subject matter, no part of it shall be deemed to be impliedly repealed by subsequent legislation and in such construction by reasonably avoided. Nothing in the UCC has never been repealed, nor can it ever be. In the event of conflict between a deleted section and a current section, the deleted section controls. It cannot be the other way around. Potentially, countless commercial transactions can be consummated based on the current UCC at any time. To cancel any portion of the UCC at a later point would throw into upheaval and chaos all commercial agreements that were based on the deleted portion, an act that would carry unimaginable astronomical liability to the many actors who attempted to effect such change. Now we must define the United States. This was covered before, but we will define it again for a better understanding as applied to this procedure at hand. Chapter 17 is working with the law. Did anyone else want to read? If not, I'll continue.
I can read, Mother Shay.
Okay.
Okay, it says working with the law, chapter 17. Commercial lien. A commercial lien is a non-judicial claim or charge against property of a lien debtor for payment of a debt or discharge of a duty or obligation. A lien has the effect of permanently seizing property in 3 months, 90 days upon failure of the lien debtor to review the affidavit of claim of lien. The commercial grace of a lien is provided by the 3-month delay of the execution process, allowing a resolution either verbally, in writing, or by jury trial within 90 days of the grace period. A distress, defined in Black Law Dictionary 6th edition, bonded by an affidavit of information, becomes a finalized, matured commercial lien and accounts receivable 90 days from the date of filing. The lien rights of a lien must be expressed in the form of an affidavit sworn true, correct, and complete, with positive identification of the affiant. The swearing is based on one's own commercial liability. A commercial lien differs from a true bill in commerce only in that a true bill in commerce is originally private, whereas a commercial lien is a true bill in commerce, publicly declared, usually filed in the office of the county recorder, and when unconsented by point-for-point rebuttal of an affidavit becomes a security per 15 USC and accounts receivable. Do that one because I did do a commercial lien. Gotta go back to that one. A commercial lien differs from a non-commercial lien in that it contains a declaration of a one-to-one correspondence concerning an item or service purchased or offense committed and a debt owed. A commercial lien does not require a court process for its establishment. However, a commercial lien can be challenged via a Seventh Amendment jury trial that may not be removed by anyone except the lien claimant or such jury trial properly constituted, convinced, and concluded by due process of law. It cannot be removed by summary process, i.e. a judge's discretion. A commercial lien or distress can exist in ordinary commerce without dependence on a judicial process, and it is therefore not a common law instrument unless challenged in a court of common law, whereupon it converts to a common law lien. A commercial lien must always contain an affidavit in support of a claim of lien and cannot be removed without a complete rebuttal of the lien claimant's affidavit, point by point, in order to overthrow the one-to-one correspondence of the commercial lien. No common law process can remove a commercial lien unless that common law process guarantees and results in the complete rebuttal of the lien claimant's affidavit, categorically and point for point, in order to overthrow the one-to-one correspondence of the commercial lien. What is a true bill in commerce? A true bill in commerce is a ledgering or bookkeeping accountant with every entry established. This is your first affidavit, certified and sworn on the maker's commercial liability as true, correct, and complete, and not meant to mislead. It must contain a one-to-one correspondence between an item or service purchased or offense committed and the corresponding debt owed. This commercial relationship is what's known as just compensation, Fifth Amendment, between the government and the American people. A true bill is called a warrant, Fourth Amendment, and direct taking of property by legislative act, an example, IRS and the like, is called a bill of pains and penalty. Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, Clause 1, and Article 1, Section 9, Clause 3, Bill of Attainder. There is one other matter we must define before we start putting all these pieces of the puzzle together in a workable tool for our benefit. That is the Uniform Commercial Code itself. United States, U.S., U.S., USA, and America means federal corporation. These are all in uppercase. USC Title 28, Section 3002, Subsection 5, Chapter 176. The United States is a corporation. 534 Federal Supplement 724. The United States is a corporation originally incorporated on February 21st, 1871 under the name of District of Columbia, D.C. 16 Statutory 419, Chapter 62. The United States was reorganized June 11th, 1878 and is a bankrupt organization per House Joint Resolution 192 on June 5th, 1933. And I believe we learned about that on Wednesday of HJR 192. Senate Report 93, 549, and Executive Orders 6072, 6102, and 6246. The United States is a de facto government. Originally, the 10 square mile tract succeeded by Maryland and Virginia, comprising of Washington, D.C., and it is possession, territories, arsenals, and forts. As a corporation, the United States has no more authority to implement its law against the people than does McDonald's Corporation, except for the silent contract we have signed as surety for our straw man with the United States and its creditor bankers. These silent contracts with the United States and the banksters, I call them banksters, are not contracted with us, but with our official entity straw man, or as they term it, the person, which appears to be us, but is printed with the all capital letters that signify a corporation. All this was accomplished under Vice Admiralty Courts. Vice Admiralty Courts are courts established in the Queen of England's possessions beyond the seas, having jurisdiction over maritime causes, including those relating to price. The United States of America, upper and lowercase, is lawfully a possession of the English Crown per original commercial joint venture agreement between the colonies and the Crown and the Constitution that brought all the states back under British ownership and rule. The American people, however, had sovereign standing in law independent of any connection to the state or the Crown. This fact required that the people be brought back under British rule, at one at a time, and the commercial process was the method of choice used to accomplish this task, first through the 14th Amendment, and then through the resignation of our birth certificates and our property with the state. All courts in America are Vice Admiralty courts, operating in the Crown's private commercial domain. Accepted for value and acceptance. By now, you have probably heard the term acceptance for value. This term was difficult for me to understand when first encountered, and most of the people learning these redemption lessons seem to have the same problem at the start. When you look up the word acceptance in Black's Law Dictionary for edition, you find to receive with approval or satisfaction, to receive with specific intent to retain. When you first get a traffic ticket, a notice of foreclosure, or a notice of levy from the IRS, or whatever, the first instinctive reaction is, "Oh no, I'm certainly not going to accept this thing." Why would anyone want to accept any such a thing? Let's look at the words used. Acceptance. The taking and receiving of anything in good part as a tacit agreement to a preceding part, which might have been defeated or avoided if such an acceptance had not been gained. Nope, that doesn't sound much better, does it? Tacit. Is this thing inferred, understood without being openly expressed or stated, implied by silence or silent acquiescence as a tacit agreement or a tacit understanding, done or made in silence, implied or indicated, but not actually expressed, manifested by the refraining from contradiction or objection, inferred from the situation and circumstances in the absence of expressed matter. Black's Law, 6th edition. If I accept something, then there is an agreement. I agree with what they have said in the writing, whatever it may be. But if I don't accept it, but fail to express my objections, then there is still an agreement because I didn't refute or contradicted what was being said in the writing. I don't want to get into a court battle with anyone, no matter how right you may think you are, no matter what law you think is on your side. You will always lose your defense in any court, period. What a predicament. So why would I want to accept anything for value? How could that phrase possibly be of any help to me? Conditional acceptance. An agreement to pay the draft or to accept the offer on the happening of a condition subsequent, meaning after. A conditional acceptance is, in effect, a statement that the offeree, meaning you, is willing to enter into a contract that's different from the offer proposed in the original offer. A conditional acceptance is basically a counteroffer. Okay, that sounds a little better. If I accept their offer with a conditional acceptance, I am making a counteroffer back to them, and the ball is now in their court. If they do not answer within a reasonable period of time, which I can specify, then they accept my offer by tacit agreement, and I win. This sounds better, but we're not through yet. Let's look at power of acceptance. Power of acceptance, the capacity of the offeree, meaning you, upon acceptance of the term of offer, to create a binding contract. Black's Law 6 edition. So if I accept your offer with a conditional acceptance and specify my own terms on which I do accept the offer, then I have offered you a binding contract for you to accept or reject by providing your claim valid. The offerer, the municipality or the corporation, must now come back to you with a rebuttal to prove that your claims and conditions are in error. You need to accept for value these silent contracts by claiming legal possession of the fictitious entity straw man that the state created to represent or represent you when you were born. Commercial redemption. The United States, in all caps, defines the fictitious entity spelled like your name with all caps, which is your straw man, as a corporation of one, a legal person, so-called legal person. Corporation, any company, trust, or association, incorporated or unincorporated, which is organized to carry on business for its own profit or the profit of its members. 15 USCA, United States Code annotated, Section 44. Since the state created this unincorporated corporation, the state has full authority over it. And unless and until you object and give them notice otherwise, they will always have authority over your straw man and through him over you. A UCC-1 financing statement, which is a declaration, gives public notice that you, the secured party creditor, have a superior claim against the debtor, the unincorporated corporation of one, your straw man. When you file this notice, the declaration, you take this entity out of the state, out of the jurisdiction of the fictitious entity state, into the private domain, venue, where you are king. The entity, your redeemed straw man, becomes foreign to the state. Your straw man becomes an unincorporated corporation foreign to the state. Sounds like an oxymoron, but this is their terminology and their law. We simply discovered how it works. Financing statement. A document setting out a secured party interest in goods. A document designed to notify third parties, generally prospective buyers or lenders, that there may be an enforceable security interest in the property of the debtor. This is evidence of a security interest filed by the security holder with the Secretary of State or similar public body that has become public record. Security agreement. An agreement which creates or provides for a security interest between the debtor and secured party, a UCC 9-1058. An agreement granting a creditor a security interest in personal property, which security interest is normally perfected either by creditor taking possession of the collateral or by filing a financing statement in the proper public record. Security interest. Interest in property obtained pursuant to security agreement, a form of interest in property which provides that that the property may be sold on default in order to satisfy the obligation for which the security interest is given. Often lien is used as a synonym, although lien most commonly refers only to interest providing securities that are created by operation of law, not through agreement of the debtor or creditor. A security agreement establishing a security interest must exist in order to file a UCC-1 financial statement. But does this mean that it must be in writing and attached to the UCC-1? Perhaps, but it is, but not if, perhaps, but not if it is a verbal agreement. Since your straw man corporation cannot speak, how can it write or sign its name? You can create a security agreement and attach it with your UCC-1 financial statement, but you probably don't need it. In fact, you can do all the administrative procedures without filing a UCC-1 because you are the third-party creditor, whether you file a UCC-1 or not. Filing is as much for your benefit as for anyone else's because it makes this intangible subject more real to you and gives you confidence. And that alone is worth every bit of the effort expended. Some of the states give you a hard time when filing a financial statement, as they claim you are not contracting with yourself. You can overcome this by creating a separation between you and your strawman corporation so that they can see that there is a difference, as if they didn't know. You could apply for a trade name for your strawman, corporation of one. Once this is filed, you will start receiving promotions in the mail, indicating that the corporate system recognizes your strawman as a fictitious entity doing business for profit as a corporation. Okay, that might explain why I started getting stuff in the mail. Okay, I yield.
This is giving me confidence. When we finish reading, I'm gonna pull up a site for nationality. So it's pretty much giving me the confidence I need to just go ahead and knock this stuff out this week, y'all. Honestly, I already pretty much know what to do at this point. At least to go ahead and get started and put this stuff on record.
Sister Shemarie?
Peace.
I was listening. I mean, I tuned in, but I didn't catch the title of that book.
The name of the book is New Beginning, study course, Connect the Dots and See by David E. Robinson.
New Beginnings study course.
New Beginning study course, Connect the Dots and See by David E. Robinson.
David D. Robinson.
David E. Robinson. E was Echo. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Got it now. I definitely have to get this book. Definitely. Thank you.
Yes, most definitely.
Mother Shay?
Yes.
Also, can I just say, because like when I taught my UCC, what you do, how you make a distinction between your strawman name and your natural name is like what I did was I put my first name and, you know, like how they show you in school, like capital letter first and then small case letters. And then I used to put like the dot, what do you call that? The two dots, one above the other, you know what I mean?
Are you talking about like the syntax grammar?
Right. And then you separate it by, you know, like
the colon,
asterisk. Oh, what do you call the ones with dots with the one on top of one another? Like when you want to separate it.
Those are colons.
The colons, yes. So then you put your right. So then you would put your uppercase and then lowercase. Then you put the colon, and then you put it with your last name is the same, and then you can put AR in parentheses so they know. And then when you file your trade name, because I trademark copyrighted my name. So
Mm-hmm.
when you use your name in all capital letters, you put that
Mm-hmm.
little copyright symbol next
Right.
to it,
Right.
so they know that there's a difference in between the two.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that too.
Yeah, because then if you don't put those, then they can say, "Ah, that's you." It's like, no,
Right.
that's not. Especially when you do the copyright. And that's also letting them know that if they, since you did copyright the name and you got it filed, if they use um, that name, with the all caps for any commerce, business, profit, then they have to pay you.
Right. Okay. I'm definitely getting this done. My hopes is to be able to provide you all with the results of my work, and then be able to assist you all with getting some of this done. So I'm going to go ahead and continue on reading chapter 18. And then once we at 11 o'clock, once we finish the reading portion, I'm gonna pull up this site where if anyone hasn't gotten their nationality done, I'm gonna pull up a site and show you guys some stuff where it's already basically formatted out for you, and is in order of how to, the processes or whatever. So I'm gonna show you all. So balancing your bank account, chapter 18, balancing your bank account with the Treasury of the United States. The government, specifically the IRS, keeps an account for your straw man corporation from the time you were born until the time you die. That is what your straw man is, a ledger account. An accounting of the commercial transactions of the credit that you as the creditor give or loan to the United States. The IRS calls the summary of entries made to this account your individual master file, or IMF. This file is an account of what the straw man does so that they can put a value on the criminal charges that they are claiming against your individual straw man, such as being a rum runner in Puerto Rico, or an arms dealer in Iran, or a drug dealer in Malaysia. This is how they charge against your account, and that is why you have never been directly charged with these crimes. The debtor, the corporation, your straw man is charged instead. These charges represent millions of dollars worth of U.S. Treasury bonds sold and traded by the foreign corporation called the United States. As you might guess, depending on the crimes and the assigned values, this balance is a continuing deficit to the debtor, and it would be an overwhelming feeling to know that it will be an overwhelming feeling to know that if you think you are the debtor, you might owe millions of, if not hundreds of millions of dollars to someone else. But you must ask yourself this question: who is the creditor of this unredeemed debtor straw man? Is it the United States, the Federal Reserve Bank, or the International Monetary Fund? No, you are the creditor of your debtor straw man, whether redeemed or not. These entities are pretending to be the creditor in your place, but did they create the substance, value, or did you? Then why are they getting the interest or the taxes for the credit units that we have supplied to the corporation? Shouldn't the corporations be paying the interest or taxes to us instead of us to them? How did this get turned upside down, where the head is the tail and the tail is the head? The stranger that is within you shall get up above you very high, and you shall come down very low. He shall lend to you, and you shall not lend to him. He shall be the head, and you shall be the tail. Moreover, all these curses shall come upon you and shall pursue you and overtake you till you be destroyed, because you hearken not unto the voice of the Lord your God to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded you. Deuteronomy 28, 43, 44, and 45. Now that you can visualize the countless numbers of charges that have been entered by the IRS against your corporate strawman's accounts, what can you do about it? You can balance your account by acceptance for value. You can redeem, zero out this account with your credit, and you can discharge all of the other debts that you can see in the public domain. The following is a speech by the Representative James Traficant. Report on the bankruptcy of the United States Congressional Record, March 1st, 1993, volume 33, page H 1303. The speaker, Representative James Traficant, Jr., Ohio, addresses the House. Mr. Speaker, we are here now in Chapter 11 Bankruptcy Reorganization. We members of Congress are official trustees presiding over the greatest reorganization of the bankruptcy entity in world history, the U.S. government. We are setting forth, hopefully, a blueprint for our future. There are some who say it is a coroner's report that will lead to our demise. It is an established fact that the United States federal government has been dissolved by the Emergency Banking Act, March 9th, 1933, 48 Statutory 1, Public Law 89, 719, declared by President Roosevelt being bankrupt and insolvent. House Joint Resolution 192, 73rd Congress in session, June 5th, 1933. Joint resolution to suspend the gold standard and abrogate the gold clause, dissolve the sovereign authority of the United States and the official capacities of all United States government officers and departments, and is further evidence that the United States federal government exists today in name only. The receivers of the United States bankruptcies are the international bankers via the United Nations, the World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund. All United States offices, officials, and departments are now operating within a de facto status in name only under emergency war powers, with the constitutional Republican form of government now dissolved. The receivers of the bankruptcy have adopted a new form of government for the United States. This new form of government is known as a democracy, being an established socialist communist order under a new government for America. This act was instituted and established by transferring and or placing the office of the Secretary of Treasury to that of the Governor of the International Monetary Fund. Public Law 94, 564, page 8, section HR 13955 reads in part, the U.S. Secretary of Treasury receives no compensation for representing the United States. Gold and silver were such a powerful money during the founding of the United States of America that the founding fathers declared that only gold and silver coins can be money in America. Since gold and silver coinage were heavy and inconvenient for a lot of transactions, they were stored in banks and a claim check was issued as a money substitute. People traded their coupons as money or currency. Currency is not money, but a money substitute. Redeemable currency must promise to pay a dollar equivalent in gold or silver money. Federal Reserve notes, FRNs, make no such promises and are not money. A Federal Reserve note is a debt obligation of the federal United States government, not money. The federal United States government and the U.S. Congress were not and have never been authorized by Constitution for the United States of America to issue currency of any kind, but only lawful money, gold and silver coin. It is essential that we comprehend the distinction between real money and a paper money substitute. One cannot get rich by accumulating money substitutes. One can only get deeper in debt. We, the people, no longer have any money. Most Americans have not been paid any money for a very long time, perhaps not in their entire lifetimes. Now, do you comprehend why you feel broke? Now, do you understand why you are bankrupt along with the rest of the country? Federal Reserve notes, FRNs, are unassigned checks written and closed on a closed account. FRNs are an inflatable paper system designed to create debt through inflation, devaluation of currency. Whenever there is an increase of the supply of a money substitute in the economy without a corresponding increase in the gold and silver backing, inflation occurs. Inflation is an invisible form of taxation that irresponsible governments inflict on their citizens. The Federal Reserve Bank, who controls the supply and movement of the FRNs, has everybody fooled. They have access to an unlimited supply of Federal Reserve notes, paying only for the printing cost of what they need. FRNs are nothing more than promissory notes for the U.S. Treasury securities, T-bills, a promise to pay the bill to the Federal Reserve Bank. There is a fundamental difference between paying and discharging a debt. To pay a debt, you must pay with value or substance, i.e., gold, silver, barter, or a commodity. With FRNs, you only discharge a debt. You cannot pay a debt with a debt currency system. You cannot service a debt with a currency that has no backing in value or substance. No contract in common law is value unless it involves an exchange of gold and valuable consideration. Unpayable debt transfers power and control to the sovereign power structure that has no interest in money, law, equity, or justice because they have so much wealth already. Their lust is for power and control, and since the inception of central banking, they have controlled the fates of nations. The Federal Reserve System is based on the canon law and the principles of sovereignty protected in the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. In fact, the international bankers use a canon law trust as their model, adding stock and naming it a joint stock trust. The U.S. Congress has passed a law making it illegal for any legal person to duplicate a joint stock trust in 1873. The Federal Reserve Act was legislated post facto, 1870. Although post facto laws are strictly forbidden by the Constitution, Article 1, Section 9, Clause 3, the Federal Reserve System is a sovereign power structure separate and distinct from the federal United States government. The Federal Reserve is a maritime lender and or maritime insurance underwriter to the federal United States, operating exclusively under Admiralty maritime law. The lender underwriter bears the risk, and the maritime law compelling specific performance in paying the interest or premiums are the same. Assets of the debtor can also be hypothecated as a security to pledge something as a security without taking possession of it by the lender or underwriter. The Federal Reserve Act stipulated that the interest on the debt was to be paid in gold. There was no stipulation in the Federal Reserve Act for ever paying the principal. Prior to 1913, most Americans owned clear allodial title to property, free and clear of any liens or mortgages until Federal Reserve Act 1913 hypothecated all property within the federal United States to the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve, in which the trustees or stockholders held legal title. The U.S. citizen, which are known as tenant or franchisee, was registered as a beneficiary of the trust via his or her birth certificate. In 1933, the Federal United States hypothecated all of the present and future properties, assets, and labor of their subjects. The 14th Amendment, U.S. citizens to the Federal Reserve System, the non-federal Federal Reserve Bank. In return, the Federal Reserve System agreed to extend the Federal United States Corporation all the credit money substitute it needed. Like any other debtor, the Federal United States government had to assign collateral and security to their creditors as a condition of the loan. Since the Federal United States didn't have any assets, they assigned the private property of their economic slaves, the United States or the U.S. citizens, as collateral against the unpayable federal debt. They also pledged the unincorporated federal territories, national parks, forests, birth certificates, and nonprofit organizations as collateral against the federal debt. All has already been transferred as payment to the international bankers. Unwittingly, America has returned to its pre-American Revolution feudal roots, whereby all land is now held by a sovereign, and the common people have no right to hold allodial title to property. Once again, we the people are the tenants and the sharecroppers renting our own property from a sovereign in the guise of the Federal Reserve Bank. We the people have exchanged one master for another. This has been going on for over 80 years without the informed knowledge of the American people, without a voice protesting loud enough. It is now easy to see why America is fundamentally bankrupt. Man, it is crazy. Why do more people own their properties outright? Why don't more people own their properties outright? Why are 90% of Americans mortgaged to the hilt and have little or no assets after all debts and liabilities have been paid? Why does it feel like you are working harder and harder and getting less and less? We are reaping what has been sowed, and the result of our harvest is a painful bankruptcy and a foreclosure on American property, precious liberties, and way of life. Few of our elected representatives in Washington, D.C. have dared to tell the truth. The federal United States is bankrupt. Our children will inherit this unpayable debt and the tyranny to enforce paying it. America has become bankrupt in world leadership, financial credit, and its reputation for courage, vision, and human rights. This is an undeclared economic war, bankruptcy, and economic slavery of the most corrupt kind. End of trifficant speech. Why? Wow. So that completes chapter 18. I think we're going to stop there because there's only 12 minutes left in the hour. So at this point, what I wanted to do is Anyone have anything they wanted to say while I'm looking up this website?
Mother Shay?
Yes, ma'am.
Well, and it's funny that when you read this here, because a lot of this stuff was done to us unknowingly, and then in order to get it to go through, we were lied to.
Right.
Because I know they say, we signed over our this and this and this, but I think, like they said, we were uninformed, because had we known what the birth certificate means and what it really meant and what our social security numbers really meant, we would have never signed up for that. We would never have, and there would have been an outcry, and people, would not have gone for that, which is why they had to lie to us, because they got themselves into a debt, and then they used us as chattel, to pay for their debt. And I was speaking to my sister yesterday, and we was talking about, like, she still has student loans. Everybody here in America has student loans, but like, say, I have a friend that lives in Canada who went to nursing school the same way I did, but she doesn't have any loan because her school was free. And I
Wow.
said, and I said, well, you went to school for nursing school. I went to nursing school. You have no debt, and I'm still looking at debt. And then what made it worse, the debt, you know, not, it's not for us looking for our own remedy, would stay with us until we died. I'm like, what kind of craziness is that? And
Right.
then when I went down to Guyana, um, yeah, when they pay for their houses, they own their houses free and in the clear. And
Hmm.
we used to own our houses free and in the clear here in America. And I'm just starting to see a pattern only here in America, where they have decided to put all these like tyrannical laws on us. Half
Hmm.
of them don't even follow the laws, and
Right.
yet, there are people all over the world that are still owning their houses and property outright. But here in America, we have such a cruel and wicked, wicked system
Hmm.
that, and just even for us to get our remedy, look at how many circles and hoops we got to jump to just to get free. That's crazy. Just to get free.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why, before Trump took
Well,
office,
I
he was
think
trying.
I'm sorry.
Oh, well, no, and I was saying that's why I think he was trying to, get NESARA um, implemented, because one of the things it says in that is it's going to prevent the sale of birth certificates. In other
Hmm.
words, you can't use the people as chattel anymore.
Right.
You know, everything that you stole from them is going to be returned back to them. You know,
Absolutely.
so that's why it's like so basically, on a grander scale, this is what he's trying to do. I didn't say was, is trying to do, but on a grander scale. So
Hmm. I agree. What was I getting ready to say? I definitely agree with you. I feel like, you know, we've been just dumbed down. We are just simple-minded people. And that has caused us to be in the state that we are because we have no knowledge. Like we think we walk around and even people with all of these degrees, um I'm kind of getting an understanding and understanding of basically what basically masonry is, or Freemasonry, because it's basically knowing law, knowing the laws of nature, and utilizing them for your benefit. And that's all that it really is. I kind of got that like clarity over the past couple of days, just listening to some different things. This is all this all has to do with masonry, all of this. And so, that's why you have all of these different, they have all of these certain degrees in masonry. depending on your levels that you climb is depending on the knowledge that you have. And that's almost like in college, but at the same time, they're only teaching one subject. And so I was also listening to Bobby Hemmett the other day, and he was talking about how religion puts you in one, get you to only serve one God, or these deity, not serve, but you're utilizing one God, which is an aspect of you that's within you, when there are many gods, and these gods are basically just known as spirits or characteristics of ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? All of these different deities, the orishas and stuff like that, it's just different aspects of ourselves. And so we don't deal with all of those different aspects. We just dealing with like in Christianity, Jesus and God, and the angels and stuff like that. But in all actuality, like, there are like 100, what is it, 44 different, I think it's 172 or something like that. There's a specific number of different characteristics within all of us. And that's what the many gods are, 144 gods or whatever. Don't give me I can't quote it direct, but I know what I'm trying to say. But it's all just aspects of us. So this is where those different degrees in college comes through in, and the different degrees in masonry. That's why in college they have the fraternity orders and stuff like this. It's all just making a lot more sense to me, and being put in a broader light to me. Like, all of this stuff, we just been, at the end of the day, we just been dumbed down. We've just been dumbed down, and they purposely did it because they did not want us. They specifically wanted to create slaves, you guys, people that worked for them and made money for them and did not know how to be in business for ourselves. And I'm sorry, Mother, you can go ahead.
Oh, well, no, because you was mentioning Bobby Hemmett, and I forgot what lesson of his I was listening to, but he talked about that when you go to school and the higher your degree is, he's like, that's just letting people know how usable you are, like how malleable you are. So the higher your degree is, he's like, then that's letting the powers that be up, they're usable, they're pliable, so now I can use them more, as opposed to someone who doesn't have a higher degree. They're less malleable. In other words,
like, you just a uppity slave, like, basically.
Pretty much, and they can use you to control the others. They use you to control, the others. So when you have the boule, they're like, okay, now you got a PhD. Oh, now you really here. I could really use you for whatever.
Like the house nigga and the field nigga.
Exactly.
Period.
Exactly. What, right. And the ones in the field, because things are not working out, they're like, oh no, we got to get free. We got to get free, and the ones up on top are like, well, I don't see it. I don't see what the problem is. The butter biscuits are working for me. They're nice and buttery and creamy and fluffy.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, but we got rocks. And we don't want those butter biscuits make us all fat and squishy. No, we want to get free, and that's what he was saying about the degrees. And then what you were saying about, only having like one God served. And I think it's interesting where they always told the children of, Israel, don't go into Egypt, don't go into Egypt. You only got one God and you don't question that God. But had they gone into Egypt, they would have learned about the laws of Ma'at, which is balance. And then had they gone into Egypt and learned about Ma'at would have said, no, this is not balance. This is not balance. You're supposed to do this way and this way. And this is harmony, the yin and yang, the up and down, the within, without, as above, so below. They would have gotten that. But instead, they was given one God that does everything. You can't question him. And if you question him, he's going to get mad and jealous. And I'm thinking, well, those sounds like human attributes, if you ask me, So, and I kind of thought that was odd, because then had we all been taught about the balance, like the real law of nature, we would have known back in 1933 when they started trying to take our gold and silver from us. We would have been more, well, some of us was in the uproar, and it actually ended up having to make it a law to say, if you own gold or silver, we're going to throw you in jail. So they actually physically threatened people if they didn't want to give up their real money. That's how far they was willing to go to try to keep us from having real currency. So it makes me mad. It makes me really mad, because we've really been duped and dumbed down, and it was on purpose. So, but we're coming out of it.
Hello, Mother. Mother Shay.
Peace, Mother. Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to also say that, I think the Black church was complicit in a lot of this as well, because because I know a lot of those pastors, they know a lot of information that they're not putting out to the congregation as well either. And they have been complicit in, keeping us dumbed down as well. And they always conform to a lot of the nonsense, to keep us in line, as a people, whatever. So, growing up, I used to ask a lot of questions. And of course, the older people like, oh, you don't question certain things, and I used to always be like, well, why? But they would never come back with the answer. But I would always ask questions all the time. And, it's unfortunate that, we've been through this for so long, and slowly but surely we're coming out of it. But for me, I'm so frustrated because I feel like time was wasted. A lot of this information, if we would have known, it would have prevented a lot of things. We could have, as a group, as a people, we could have evolved so much faster and so much quicker,
Indeed.
But yeah, that was just my thoughts on it.
Oh yeah, I absolutely agree, Mother. I definitely agree with you there.
Well, the church has got 501(c)(3)s, so it benefits them not to tell us anything, because if they really started to tell us the truth, and they all know it, then they would lose that tax-free status. And
Mhm.
it's not an accident that they, when you have, like, say, a congregation, like even like a small one, like say a 50, and then everybody there is giving the pastor 10%, and he doesn't have to pay taxes, and he gets to keep that 10% from all 50 people,
Right.
and it's not an accident that you see them in the poorest neighborhoods, and the neighborhoods are run down, and the neighborhoods, nothing is going on. It's just really bad, and they're not even helping anybody in the neighborhoods. I mean, you don't even see churches with soup kitchens anymore. You don't even see them with clothes drives. You don't see them doing anything to help anybody in the community, but show up and don't pay your 10%. And they even now have ATMs inside of churches. I'm like, okay, we're
Indeed.
starting to get beyond ridiculous now.
And what other, because I remember my mom, it just makes me mad because my mom told me about how when she was in church, the pastor that they grew up under told her mother she had a lump sum of money and she wanted to invest into a laundromat. And he told her not to, kind of talked her out of doing it. But, here he is, a prestige man, driving around in nice cars and stuff like that. He probably got businesses and stuff, but you would talk your member out of becoming a business owner. So they were doing, and that was back in probably the 70s and early 80s. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and then now recently, having conversations in the past couple of years with, like, because I grew up in church. And so just having conversations, I have a brother-in-law who is an aspiring pastor and things of that nature. So, he thinks he knows everything. And, it, I started, like, when I started getting conscious of what was really happening, and how, just like, saying like the church is a business, it just dawned on me, like, this is a business. And they would make light of it, like, well, yeah, duh, you gotta make money, but no, come on, let's be serious. And so I know, no, they are being trained up under other people, up under these other pastors that used to be in the military, and then they, in their life, in their past, they used to be ex pimps and stuff like that. Because most pastors, we all know, have basically the same, have had the same upbringing, or either that, or they were PKs and stuff like that. But most of these pastors were, in the street. They lived the street life, the pimp life, the drug life, out in the streets hustling and stuff like that. So now they want to change their life around and try to come and hustle the people and make money off of the people. And this is basically what they're doing. And it just makes me angry, because like I said, I have a brother-in-law, my sister, they're just real caught up in this, real caught up in this religious religion. And they don't understand it and see that this is just a business, and you're being lied to. And the pastor that the people that you look up to, they more than likely know this information and are keeping it from you purposely. And it just even makes me more angry, because I'm gonna tell you, the beginning of the pandemic, you guys, I immediately watched them go from having church on, in their building, to coming online and asking for money when everybody else is fucking struggling.
Yeah.
I saw that too. Yeah. And I'm thinking, you've got to be kidding me. I'm like, no, jobs shut down, especially here in New York, under Cuomo, he shut everything down. And so when I saw them over there begging people for money, I'm like, are you kidding me?
It's ridiculous.
Like, are you kidding me? Especially, like I said, New York was one of the ones under Cuomo crazy behind. We really had nothing. We couldn't go out. There wasn't a phone. And yeah, when I saw them begging people for money, I'm like, we need money too. Like, why don't you take some of what you got and try to help out your parishioners? That will never happen. That will never happen. I think the last time I stepped foot in the church, it was a pastor. Well, I'm not gonna say our pastor, because I was the pastor, was sitting there and have the tithing plate go around like for the third time, and next thing I know, he looked and he went into the back, he tallied it up. He had the nerve to say, I don't think some of y'all give it 10%. It's time for me to start looking at your paycheck stub.
Oh,
I'm
hell
like,
no.
what? I said, oh, and that was the last time I went to that. I was like, bye. I'm like, because what I get is none of your business. I work hard for my money. You want to look at my paycheck stub because you think I'm not giving 10%? I'm like, maybe people got other things going on in their lives that they can't, but you want to look at after that, I'm like, I'm done with church. I'm like, I am so done with church.
Guys, I'm gonna tell you, since I've been an adult, I've been in and out of church. I did it a long time, because I got married, just trying to please my mother, just trying to, do the right Christian thing. So I got married at 18 because they didn't want me shacking. All of these things you're forced to do, because of this religious bullshit. And I'm gonna tell you, I in and out of church. I'm serious.
You're not the only one that went through
You're
that.
not the only one. I agree with you, mother. I've been in and out too. So
I've been
feel
in and
you.
out too.
Oh, wait. And they want you to stay single while they hitting on you, 'cause they like
2017 was the last time I went to church, and the church I was going to, I started going back because I ended up getting sick. And my mama was like, you need to give your life to the Lord and blah, 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 blah. So to make her happy, I started going back to church, whatever. So I was really trying to live the life or whatever, like coming to church, being involved, paying my tithes, giving extra money coming in. I'm like giving like buku money every week or whatever, because I'm working hard, trying to get back on my feet. and giving money to the church, just trying to get my blessings back, whatever. So I'm trying to tell you, the
I got my
pastor,
blessings when I left the church.
exactly, the pastor
You know,
stood up and told, he actually had me stand up and tell me that you are the hardest worker that I know. Had me stand up and say, you are the hardest worker that I know. But had the motherfucking nerve to tell me that nothing that you do, and anything that you do, unless you do it for Christ, is gonna last or work, whatever. And that just made me feel like, what the fuck, man? Like,
So
You
why
know,
the hell am I
did you
doing
like that in front of the
exactly?
congregation? Was
Exactly.
that in front of the
Exactly. In front of
congregation,
the
Mother
yes,
Shea?
in
congregation.
front of the whole
In front of
congregation.
the congregation.
oh my God.
Wow.
You know what?
Wow.
You know what, Mother Shay? I'm telling you, there are so many times I was sitting in church, they would do something or say something crazy to me. I'd be like, Lord, let me get up out of here before I come act a donkey up in here. Cause they're gonna be like, what is wrong with her? Cause I tell people, don't get it twisted. I say, see the people, I'm like, oh, the Lord, he's so merciful. He's so this. I said, yeah, he is, but the Lord brings vengeance too. I said, Jesus turned over the table out there with them people when they was
The
up there
money
trying
from
to
the
attack
table.
people. I
That's
said, so what
right.
you talking about? Go somewhere and sit down with that. So for me, I hadn't been to church. My last time really going to church, and before that, I was going in and out. But my last time stepping foot in church was in like 2015 because I did not like what I saw. And I was like, you know what? I said, I got to leave because
Yeah.
I can talk to the Lord myself. And if I got any questions or problems or concern, that's between me and him. I don't
And
need to
they're
be
gonna
around
say,
fake
oh,
and
oh,
phony people.
wait, I got one. Don't be unequally yoked, but the pastor
Oh,
had a wife and like 3 girlfriends. I'm like, what?
that part.
Got 3 girlfriends in the church pregnant with a wife.
What?
Yes,
Mm-mm.
yes.
Whoa.
And
Man, we
ain't even the
so
pastor and the deacon, and look, and the deacon board was in on it too. The deacons they ain't had 3 girlfriends. So each of them might have had a wife and a girlfriend on the side in the church. But while at the same time, they telling the girls in the church, don't be unequally yoked. Unless the man comes to church and everything, you can't get married to them. Now, these brothers know the deal. The brothers like, I ain't going to Pastor Porkchop's church. So what you're saying is we can't date anybody outside the church.
Mm-hmm.
And then find out people outside the church was treating you nicer than the people inside the church.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, they don't want you to get unequally yoked. They want to date you.
Well, I just used my wisdom, and when I started seeing things that didn't make sense to me, I just said, something just said to me, does it not say charity begins at home? Why am I giving them my money, out of free will? I said, at least when they take my taxes, they take it before the money gets into my hands. And then I will go to church and give them again. I said, how crazy is that? Doesn't make sense. So, you know what? When that light bulb came on, I just thought, you know what? It's time to leave, girl. It's
And
time
not
to leave.
only that, don't be struggling and your lights get cut off or something like that, and you try to
Yeah.
go to them for help. Now they've told you,
They will not
because you
help you.
They
haven't
will
paid
never offer
a
help for you.
consecutive
Pay
amount
your
of
tithes. You
Yeah.
haven't right. And like in New York, we get taxed. I mean, we have how many taxes in New York? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We get taxed 5 different times in New York. So by the time our paycheck is done, they take about 33% of our paycheck, right? And then you're gonna turn around and give us another 10%. Okay, so that's 43%. That's why you don't have no money, right?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Yep, they take taxes out of your check.
I remember one time when I did my taxes, I don't know what I was asking for. And then they get back to me and say, well, you gave away 10% of your money. So that doesn't mean you don't have money. That's I do have money. And I thought about it. I said, you know what? They're right there. They are right. Because why would you be saying you don't want to pay your taxes because, or they should give you some of your taxes back because, you're not making enough. They say, oh, if you are not making enough, you shouldn't be giving your money away. Right. Yeah. Well, the thing about it is you are not only giving your 10%, you are also giving out to the TV evangelists that come up online on TV. You're also giving when they bring in speakers, they will collect money for those people. So even the 10%, they're not using it to pay out the church bills. If there's any bills, they collect that specially from the people.
Right.
I remember driving to church one day and I said to myself, I look at my neighbors. I said, they don't go to church and they have a good life. I said, look at me, I'm always rushing. I go to work, I come back rushing to go to church. I said, that doesn't make any sense. So I said, you know what? You've been praying, you've been giving all this time and you want this good life. You're just still struggling. So I said, enough is enough. I better start putting my head to work for me. Well, I think I left church 2012 or even before. Yeah. And when I left for good. And not even a single, and I was a very good, active church goer, participating in all the programs. And when I left, not a single person even called me to find out what's going on. Not a single person, not even the pastor. And I thought, and then they tell you that, oh, the church is going to cleanse the world. Then you can't even cleanse the ones that are inside. Nonsense.
Right.
Yeah. No, when I see Christians coming, I just say, you know what, I don't want to have anything to do with those Christians because they're just too
indoctrinated, brainwashed.
It's even worse
than
that.
Programmed.
People, they're the ones that was coming. Yeah, they're just
coming to your door. When I said, when the Jehovah Witness knock on your door, and I'm like, if y'all don't get the hell out of my face.
Exactly.
If y'all get the hell out of my face, slam.
Right.
Right.
We thought we was doing something.
I was like, well, y'all don't have souls. So do you know where you're going when you die? Because you don't have no soul. So don't talk to me. I'm good. Hell out of here. I'm like, God.
Yeah, well, at least the Jehovah's Witness not coming to people's doors right now, so that's a good thing.
Not right now, no. As soon as they open up everything, oh boy, they be going 2 by 2. I'm like, if y'all get the hell out of my face with all that nonsense, what? I'm like, don't even say, hey, listen.
They knock on my door. When they knock on my door, I tell them, I don't, I'm good. And then when they start quoting the Bible, I said, I know the Bible. I've read the Bible. I know the Bible very, very well. So when they start asking me questions, I ask them back some questions. They look at me and think, oh, okay. Have a good day. Have a good day. Have a blessed day. I said, thank you. You too.
Guys, I just slammed the door. I'm like, what? Get the hell out of here, Slam. I don't even want to talk to you. I'm like, why? If you don't get up out of my face. Oh.
Well, I found another daily prayer that I want to share with you all, for you all, if you want to implement into your daily meditation. It says, the overshadowing presence which guides the planet, their course, and causes the sun to shine, watches over all my possessions, my family, my business, and all that are mine. Make this an E. God is my fortress and vault. All my possessions and powers are secure in God. And I don't like to necessarily say the word God, so I always use infinite spirit or great mother, something like that. But I want to share that with you all. And well, I'm spelling it wrong. Infinite. Okay. So hope you guys like that. Also, I want to just share this one website that I've been studying. Then I'm gonna let you all go. I'm trying to just pull this website up. Okay, so this is the Moorish American Consulate. This is for the nationality. They have an actual grid on here So the first process is for you to do your nationality process.
As I'm actually in the process. Yeah, that's the one I'm using.
This is the one you're using? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I've been studying it and I'm kind of liking how they have everything
Yeah.
in simple form and formality. Everything is basically
Yeah.
step by step.
Yeah, they updated everything. It's really good. They've
Yes.
updated everything. Yeah.
And they keep updates on everything.
Yeah.
Yep. So, and then she also has classes on every Tuesday as well. Sometimes
That's right.
but
I joined last Tuesday, but I think
Mother, what is that? I'm sorry. What is that website again? I'm sorry, I didn't see the top of it.
it's more
Moorish
American Consulate. I'm gonna put it in the chat.
Yeah.
More American Consulate.org. Okay. So all of the documents are basically here, guys. But it basically you can read. It's all type of reading in here. Here are the your erudite lessons. So they have lessons in here that you can go through. A lot of reading. More so on the Moorish side, but it all coincides. This is your declaration, the same declaration that we were just reading about in the book. Basically changing your name or to your appellation and putting them on notice that you are in your proper persona, your propria persona. So putting them on notice about that. So this is your declaration. And then going back, they have the judicial notice and proclamation as well. So these are the two forms basically that you would file. Is basically
they also tell you where to send them, all the departments to send them.
Yes, I will show that to you.
Yeah. And they would also witness your documents for you and seal it.
Yes,
Yeah,
they seal your documents and witness them for you.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a very good site, guys.
It's a very good site.
Let me see, where's that format?
And then they have
here it is, the 10 mailing locations. So these are the mailing locations where you do your nationality status and correction. So of course you're going to send it to their council. So this is the consulate. So anytime you need any assistance, you can always contact them. They will assist you as far as bringing you over into their court in their jurisdiction and representing you. Because this is what has really been lacking in the Moorish community is a consulate court. They don't have anybody that's been handling the business as far as like our own courts. And so this is why a lot of the fraudulent stuff that has been happening over the years has been going on, because they never really had a consulate court or anything of that sort. So Sharon, Tracy, Gail Bay, and Fatima, these are the young ladies that are over the mothers that are basically the ones running this consulate court and basically trying to put everything in order. And they are under Taj Tariq Bey. So these are you will send your other documents to the President of the United States of America, to the United States Department of State, to the United States Attorney General, Chief of Justice, United States Secretary of Treasury, United States Army and Provost Marshal General, and the Secretary of the United Nations as well. Those are the 10 places where you want to mail your documents to. And They also, let me go back to the grid. They also have where you will be able to apply for your, they'll get the declaration, get your trust and everything started. Basically your Lodio trust, all of that.
And
That's
for
like
your
the
mortgage,
second part.
and your mortgage process also is there, which is good.
Yes, and your nationality ID cards will be on file with them, as well as your, everything that you file will be on file with them as well, so that they can know who you are. You know what I'm saying? If should anything come up or ever happen. What else? They also do the driver's the tags. So here
Yeah,
they have
did
the
it,
tags
yeah.
as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So they do everything, you guys. Very good organization. I wish you guys checking them out. And another site you wanna enforce the Constitution.org is another site you want to get familiar with, so that you can know basically this is, I don't know if you guys know anything about that situation that happened with the rise of the Moors, but they actually still are being kidnapped, whatever. So they have study materials. They have a counselor court as well, and they
Mother
do
Shelly,
yes.
can you put, is this the website, affairs of,
I'm sorry.
can I have the website to this one again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm putting it in the chat for you right now, Mother.
Thank you.
And did you get the one from the Moorish American Consulate?
I
I
believe
put in the chat. All right, I just put enforce the Constitution in there as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that the one where we just was?
Yes, this is enforce the Constitution.
Okay.
And then Moorish American Consulate, I'll put that in there again too, if you missed it. Okay. And then I'll put them in the group, the chat, the Telegram chat as well a little later. But that basically is it, you guys. I just want to show you all that, give you all some references, how to get these processes done so we can get started. And I'm getting more confident. I don't know about you all, but I'm getting more confident in it.
Yes, same here, same here. And it's also, it's good to study so that you're confident. Study is good, and learning all those the definitions of those words that you're supposed to be using.
Yeah. Did anyone else have any questions or have anything they wanted to add?
Just want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for the your labor of love that you extend to the family. Really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and same here. I ditto that. Shay Marie, because unfortunately I'm a busy little person, but I'm trying to see if I can slow things down. When is it that you have your Zoom about the investments and stuff?
So we have classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now I changed it from Mondays because my husband's schedule changed. So Tuesdays and Thursdays is when we do the wealth building, but I've made Tuesdays, I've implemented more reading time because we weren't really spending a lot of time. I'm not really getting a lot of interest. So until the interest in the investment side pick up, I'm probably going to be just pushing a lot of reading for right now, because this is also financial literacy as well with what we're reading, and it's going to teach us how to operate in the private and get our finances taken care of the right way, the way it should have been taken care of in the first place. But at the same time, we're wealth building and building up our assets. So
Sounds good. What time on Tuesday and Thursday is that?
at 6 p.m. Eastern
Okay.
Standard Time.
Okay. I may have an introduction or some information about some wealth building that I'm probably could mention to you, or as a
Okay,
whole. Yeah.
no problem. Just
To
message
create
me and we
to
can
create
talk about it.
residual.
Okay, sure. Message me and we can talk about it. I mean, right now, that's what we are building on. You know, the Quicksilver and the 7K metals, all of
Mhm.
those are for residual incomes as well.
Right. And I got in on the Quicksilver. I will get in on the 7 metals eventually, but I
No, I'm
did get in.
not pressuring you. I'm just saying, we have those for to build residual income. So I'm just saying we really just need to focus on what we are working on at this point. Focus on building those, and then once we get those built up and start earning residual income from the things that we already have, then we maybe can implement more. Because at this point, we have to start getting people to generate more income. But I would love to see what you want to show me. So definitely message me and I'll look it over. And
Okay.
then,
Now, where do I message you? Where is it that I would?
are you in our Telegram chat? Or are you
Um,
on Telegram at all?
yeah, I'm on Telegram, but I think with the one that's the wealth building, are we able to respond to you in that Telegram, or is it just you who are able to
There's
put
a
posts?
actual comment section. When you see any posts made, there's a section there's like a little box underneath the post that says comment, and you can just comment on those. It'll take you actually to a different there's a comment chat. You may or may not be in it, because I have 103 people in the group, but it's only 17 people from the group in like the conversation chat. So I'll try to put that in there as often as possible so that if anyone wants to comment, but you can just message me personally and privately, and then we can go over that information, or you can email it to me at shaymarieinc@gmail.com.
Could you put that in the in the messaging, and I could just click on it if you don't
Yeah,
mind?
I'm doing
Okay.
it right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And who is this I'm speaking with?
This is Abina.
Abina?
I signed up
Yeah.
back in like probably April or so.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, like I said, my mind was just swirling with a lot of activity. So I
Mm-hmm.
really haven't been able to, get active, but I'm trying to slow things down and be more focused now. So,
Oh, no problem, mother. Not a problem. I remember your name, just not the voice. You actually sound like Crystal, another one of the mothers I haven't seen in a while. But thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, Ina
You're
and I
welcome.
have been working together, so we kind of trying to, get things done as well.
I'm sorry, mother.
I said myself and Mother Abina, we've been working together, doing more or less the same thing, trying to do the things that we talk about.
Okay, awesome. Are you guys in the same areas?
No.
Okay.
Definitely not.
She's in Florida. I'm in DC.
Okay.
It would be nice if it was, No,
Mhm.
but we're close. We're not far. Florida is not far from Belize.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I
Just
told
one.
you I'm gonna get a boat so I could just, float on
Yeah.
over by you.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, it's good being here with you mothers. I enjoy you all. I enjoy having these gatherings, like I say, every time. And I'm just looking forward to the growth and to all the healing that's going to happen through what we're doing. And everything is going to definitely pay off and take off. So I'm just excited about it, really. And so we also have meditations on Wednesdays, Mother, if you can make it at 6 p.m. If not, I understand. I understand. We all have busy lives, but we just trying to come together and raise the vibrations. Our meditations have definitely been helping me personally. I know for sure.
Mother Shay,
Yes,
I'm sorry, I do have to go. I have to prepare for my grow class,
indeed.
but it's been a really, really informative, wonderful class. It's been so good. So yes, I just have to hop off, but I wanted to say thank you to the mothers, and I wanted, to say thank you to you, Meditator, because this has really been so good. This is something that we really all need to know. So thank you.
I appreciate you for being here. I appreciate you, Mother, for your time. And yes, I put in the chat, the Telegram chat already, the Grow Show and Know class today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for everyone that wants to attend. So look forward to seeing you all there. And thank you, Mother, for being here.
And I also got an update on the Venom, so that's something I wanted to go over before I do my growth show as well. So all
Okay.
right, so, mothers, thank you, and I will see you soon.
See you soon, Mother.
See you soon. Take care. Peace and love.
Hey, Mother Shay, this Mother Martin. I have to leave as well, but I just wanted to say thank you again for a great class. It's good to see everyone in the class. And also, I think I had sent I think I sent a video to the community thing the other day of Freedom Riders.
Mhm.
It was in reference to a doctor talking about the jab. And then I sent another one. It was a clip of talking about the rabbit hole and how far deep it goes as far as Dr. Fauci, and it was a whole lot of stuff. So I don't know if you all saw it. I don't know if I sent it to the right group or not. I think I did. I think I put it in the Freedom Riders one, I think. But if you can go back and check and just kind of look at it, it has some great information on there as well.
Okay. Let me see. Thank you for being here, Mother. I know you said you had to go. We'll definitely check that out. And then I think you did put it in the, yeah, you put it inside of the
The Freedom
you put it inside of the 7K Metals group. I'll forward that information over.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure. So I was like, I hope they get to read it or whatever. So it was quite interesting.
It's okay. I'm about to forward it over there right now for you.
Okay, thank you so much. And you ladies have a good afternoon and continue to be safe. And I'll see you all next time.
Same to
Thank you. You too. Thank you.
All right. Love y'all. Bye-bye.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
All right, guys. I'm gonna get out of
Okay.
here too. Got my breakfast getting cold.
Yeah.
So I appreciate all of you. Thank you for being here. I'll see you all Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I mentioned on my live the other day that if we have anyone that is out of the state, or on different time zones, I'll try to, change up some times if we have to, or implement other times so that we can try to, you know, what am I trying to say? Try to, make sure that we are communicating and gathering with our family out overseas as well at the same time too. So with that being said, I appreciate y'all for being here, and y'all have the great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Peace and
Bye
love.
bye. Peace and love.